Hello and welcome to Aravaipa Trail Talk number 34. Just like the good old days, I'm Jam, and there's no Jubes. Just me this week, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to do a little bit of a simpler format today because Jubilee is on vacation this week. So she is heading to the Born to Run ultramarathons in California. I myself am here in Phoenix still. Or I could be anywhere. I don't know. I don't know what the background's going to do today. So we'll see where I'm at. I don't even know where I'm at. Thank you guys for tuning in live. John Marishek just says, vacation? What? Yes, she does get vacation. Jubilee is not here this week, so I hope you guys still have some questions. If you are in the chat room, tuning in live on Facebook or Instagram, feel free to ask your questions of the show. Literally anything goes, and I will answer it this week. That doesn't go for all weeks, but this week it is perfectly fine. Looking at the Aravaipa calendar, just do a little update what's going on. We have the Adrenaline Night Runs this weekend. It's the second race in the Insomniac Night Run series. We're over at McDowell Mountain Regional Park, which is kind of the birthplace of Aravaipa. We had the Javelina 100 was our first race out there, and the Night Run series really kind of spawned out of a night training run that we had for the Javelina 100. So we are back, and we have over 300 runners pre-registered, and we will have, I'm sure, more sign-up race day. Registration still will be available that night. So I got some really cool comments from last week. We had Amy Burnett in here with her reptile friends, the snakes and the tarantulas. So if you guys have follow-up questions about that, feel free to ask them. We have literally no questions yet, but thank you guys for tuning in, and feel free to just ask those below. What else is going on? Later this month, let's see, we are in May, so that was the only other event we have this week, or this month. Heading into June, Aravaipa will have our Flagstaff Big Pine race, and what's cool about that one is we're up in Flagstaff in the cool pines, and it's really like a whole camping experience. So we're going to have camping on site. There is a really cool ropes course that is the Flagstaff Extreme. They added a zip line feature this year, and so you can actually also do that the same weekend. You can sign up for that additionally. There's also the Made in the Shade Beer Festival Saturday afternoon, and that's kind of part of the reason that we moved our night runs that happens concurrently to the evening before. So Friday is going to be the night run this year versus Saturday in the other years. And that will hopefully give everyone a chance to, check out that beer festival if they want to, or, just camp and hang out and drink if you want to the night after the race is over. Should be really exciting and fun times. Let's see what else is going on. What else do we got going on here? I'm really unprepared this week, guys, and I apologize for that. But this will be fun. I think we might move into just some Q&A. But first, might as well do the Jube Tube. I'm going to play this little game over here that we have Enzo did for me. So this game is going to be a guess the price game. So I've got 3 prices and 3 products. So these are 3 running vests. We've got a Solomon, an Ultimate Direction Fast Pack, and a Nathan. And then 3 prices. So I've got the 180, 165, and 140. So I'm going to match these up. So I'm going to go ahead and say that Solomon is probably the most expensive. So that's going to go with 180. I'm going to guess that one is going with there. Next up, I'm going to say, I think UD. This is a fast pack. I think it's going to say 165 for the UD and 140. I think this is the Ultra Krar. So, wow, 180 for the Nathan. Dang. All right, so did not do well at all in there. Oh, I got the UD one right. All right, next set is shoes. So we got a La Sportiva, we've got an Ultra, and we've got a Merrell. Prices, we got 165, 95, and 140. I'm going to say the Merrell's the cheapest at the 95. Then the maybe the Ultra is the most expensive, and then La Sportiva is 140. Our flip, wow, La Sportiva is high end. And then we got some nutrition. We got Bobos, apple pie, Stinger waffles, and Bonk Breaker. Prices are $150, $275, and $350. I'm gonna say Bonk Breaker is $350. Oh, I have no idea what Bobos cost, but I'm gonna say caramel waffles $150 and Bobos is $275. I would not buy the Bobo for that price. No, thank you. So that was cool. That was fun. I'm gonna jump into the Q&A. You guys can help guide the show at this point in time. I think that'll be the best thing we can do. Nile to C. Hey Jamil, Ireland calling. Planning to come over next year. Any runs you can recommend that's not too hot to run in? Looking at Whiskey Basin. Thoughts? Yeah, we have quite a few that aren't too bad. So anything that you pick in the like mid-November, so past Mountain on all the way through, well, Black Canyon can even be warm. Anything definitely like November through January is going to be guaranteed to be nice. But other things like Whiskey Basin is usually pretty cool, not too hot run since it's up higher in elevation in the pine trees. Also things in the summertime like Flagstaff Big Pine isn't going to be too hot either. So you got quite a few options there. Whiskey Basin, if you're coming all the way from Ireland, would be a fantastic run to come over for. Matt from DC, what this year has you really excited that you might not have already shared? I don't know what that question is referring to in terms of like our races or my personal running or the sport in general, if you have any clarification on that. But I guess I will say I'll share one thing personally and one thing for our races and then one thing in the sport in general. So I'll do all three. So one thing about our races that I am most excited about would probably be, man, I am probably most excited about the 40th annual Kendall Mountain Run. That is one of my favorite events up in Silverton, Colorado, and it's crazy. It's 40 years old. It's older than I am, and that's pretty awesome, and I hope we get a huge turnout for the run this year. What am I most excited about for myself in my running that I've not already talked about? I would say once my races are over this year, kind of getting back into the groove of just training, or maybe even jumping into a shorter distance ultra, like a 50K, 50 miler, that's maybe not planned out sometime in the fall. I think that would be kind of fun. I don't really have any plans beyond September 1st for races, but maybe once I hit October or November, I'll just, pick a weekend and go and do a race. That's like completely not on the radar. So that sounds kind of exciting. I don't know what that would be, but that sounds really fun. As far as the sport in general, what am I most excited about? I'm really excited to see what happens at UTMB this year because it's such a crazy field. Tim Tollefson's heading back, who probably doesn't get enough attention that he probably deserves. I mean, he made his debut at the 100-mile distance, placing third at UTMB, and he was moving his way up. So he's probably like the strongest contender at UTMB this year. Of course, people are going to talk about Jim Walmsley as well, and I'm stoked to see what he can do out there, especially maybe after Western. Who knows what will happen there. So yeah, I think UTMB is going to be one of the most exciting events to follow later in the fall. As far as the men's races go. M. Widmeyer, I know you're a big proponent of cupless races, but how do you feel about the rotating handhelds seen so often? Isn't that just as wasteful? Why not refill the one you already have? I think that you're referring to people like maybe rotating a handheld with a crew, like they just swap it out. If it's something different, please comment down below. I don't think it's wasteful if your crew is handing you another bottle, because sometimes that can just help with like switching your bottles quicker. It doesn't produce any more waste. And the cupless thing, that's something newer for us. We've kind of held off on the cupless. I wasn't totally sold on the idea. I mean, there's could be arguments for it, like we're obviously producing a lot of waste just driving to these places, and it's probably a smaller amount of trash. Like the race itself still produces some trash in general. But for us, we wanted to give it a try, and I really was sold on the coupless idea after racing in Europe. It seemed like it made a lot of sense just to have your own little personal cup. And I think, it's a small part, but it can make a big difference when you add up over the course of an entire year. But I think, refill. I think most people do just refill the bottles they have. They just have one bottle with them at any given times. Kniemeister, what's your or your staff's favorite night race? I guess the question is, if you could only choose one, which would it be? Oh man, that's a great question. Javelina Hangover might be the favorite because it's the first one that we ever did. It's typically held during the full moon. I don't know if it always is, but we try and coincide, and you really can't beat that. So I'd say maybe if you're trying to pick one that is on a full moon weekend, because you can literally at some point in the night just turn your flashlight or headlamp off and just run just with the light of the moon, and that's a really cool feeling. It's hard to describe that, but it just feels very primal and almost like you're just an animal out there running around. It's pretty awesome. Run, Drew, run. Know of anyone that's been bitten by a snake on a night run? We don't have many snakes here, so the snake video really tripped me out. I've never heard of someone, like no one in our race has been bitten by a snake in any of our events, let alone a night run. I do know of one runner, Jen Thompson out of Colorado. She lives in Colorado now, that was bitten by a snake. But that happened to be, she was running and like two mountain bikers came up behind her, I believe. She had to jump off the trail suddenly and jumped right into a rattlesnake and was bitten twice. So, but yeah, I have not heard of one getting bitten by a snake at night yet. Hopefully it doesn't happen. Joa and hi, you have had several Swedish gadgets last glasses and before a t-shirt. The story behind this? So the Swedish story, I guess that would root back to Elov Olsen, who's from Sweden, and he showed up in our office, just rolled in the door one day, right ahead of the Black Canyon 100K. It was pretty funny. He wanted to come and race for a golden ticket and decided on our race, Black Canyon. He must have been following us online, and he booked a hotel room within a couple-minute walk of our office here, which it's not really known for like a place to stay. It's, just kind of an office industrial district, and he came in and ended up hanging out for a while and came with us one day when we were driving around the course and kind of developed a friendship. And as a thank you for kind of giving him a little help that week, he gave me the Swedish jersey, and then I just picked up the Swedish sunglasses because I wanted to make a tribute towards him. So we're actually going to be seeing him not this weekend, but next weekend at the Western States training camp. So we'll hopefully get some footage of him. He's training up for Western States right now. He did get the golden ticket, and it's a fun story to watch because he's a guy that has a lot of heart. He's a young guy. He's got a lot of potential, and it'll be fun to see how he ends up this year, how he fares against Jim Walmsley. He's been kind of trolling Jim online on some of his Instagram posts, and it's pretty fun to see that. Deb runs far. Any additional guests planned for future shows? Loved Ranger Amy. We would like to have more guests on, maybe every other week. We don't have any lined up yet. So if you guys have suggestions on who you would like to see on this show, feel free to either comment now or below, or comment on our YouTube channel, or you can also send us tweets. Either my handle is @JamilCurry, Jubilee is @HappyJubilee, or you can also send it directly to Aravaipa Running. You can also email us. There's a lot of ways to get a hold of us. So yes, thank you guys for your support of Ranger Amy. There's a lot of positive comments there. Nathan17 did a run into the Grand Canyon last Saturday. Freaking epic. There is now Run Steep, Get High hats permanently off the South Kaibab Trail. Sorry to hear that, guys. That really sucks. Yeah, don't know what to say. We don't condone littering, but I guess it does happen, so we will forever remember those hats. Just take a quick moment. Just a moment of silence for those hats. We also see Nico pacing Darcy Africa for an attempt of the women's rim to rim to rim. She missed it by 11 minutes. I did not know about that. That would have been nice to know a couple days ago. Yeah, if you have stories like that, tweet us @Mountain Outpost. We have our Mountain Outhouse News channel, and we would love to report on that kind of information. Niall C., what did you think of Nike's sub 2-hour attempt? Do you think it will be done in a marathon anytime soon? I thought it was pretty cool just to see some people come together and kind of see what was humanly possible. I know people will scoff at the fact that it wasn't a real race, but I don't think that they were ever intending for that to be that way. I just read an article this morning talking about how there's actually 3 different companies currently with efforts towards breaking the sub 2. And I mean, with how close they came at that first one, I'd say they're probably going to do it within the next year or two. As far as in a real race, it's certainly possible. I don't see why it isn't possible. I mean, probably 15 years ago, they probably never thought someone would break 205. And now they're already at like officially at 202 and change. The only question that needs to be raised is like, are these athletes clean? I think there should be more transparency about that. I think Nike and Adidas and Vodafone is the other company that's supporting a project. I think it would be great to see them put more effort into proving that these athletes are clean, because it just casts a shadow on all their efforts. Seems like every day now we're hearing some result that is deleted from the history books, and medals are having to exchange spots because of someone that's been caught doping, and it can take a while to figure that out. It could take 1 year, 3, 5, 8 years, who knows? And that's not really fair to any of the athletes, because those that cheated and won are benefiting disproportionately. There's not, now that someone gets a bronze medal 8 years ago retroactively, it's harder for them to actually benefit from the fact that they're a medalist in the Olympics or have certain records. So I'd love to see more of that in the clean sport movement. Beaverhead Run. When you are running and filming with your DJI Osmo, how do you store it when not filming to get it out of your hands at the same time protecting it and being able to easily retrieve it? Thanks. So that's the camera that for those of you that don't know, I film a lot of running at our events and otherwise, and I use a stabilized Steadicam. So the question is, what do I do with it when I'm not using it? And I just keep it in my hand. So I don't store it in my pack. I don't carry a case for it. I'm fortunate that I run in a lot of areas where there's no rain or weather, because the unit is not completely waterproof. We've used it in the rain a little bit, and we've been okay, but I would not use it in a downpour. So the one time I took it on a long race with mist and humidity, I actually took just a plastic bag and just stuffed it in the bag and just carried it in my hand as well. I'm a person that I like to use the equipment, use the camera equipment to its potential, and I'll oftentimes risk the equipment to get the shot. You might be different, so you might want to take a carrying case and something else along with you if you want to be a lot more protective of that type of investment. I am very much willing to kind of put it on the line to get the shot, or when I'm out and about, sometimes I literally just lay it on the ground in very gently, but I will lay it on the dirt or on the rock while I'm getting a snack or getting something out of my pack or rearranging. But some might not be willing to do that. So there's kind of my answer for that one. Is Killian still racing UTMB Micro Runner 505? As far as I know, he is. It's on his 2017 calendar that he announced on his website. I know he's doing Everest right now. He's at base camp, and he's going to be doing Hard Rock after that first. So all signs point to yes, that he's doing it. He's on the entrance list. We will see how that develops. All right, so that's all the Instagram questions for now. Again, if you guys have more questions, I will be answering them for the remainder of our time. Let's switch over to Facebook now, see if we have any questions over here. Looks like we have a few. Donna Beamer Corbett, can you recommend a good 15 to 20 mile loop trail in Flagstaff? Yeah, absolutely. I would say, 15 miles. There's a lot in the Fort Valley Trail system. There's also stuff around Mount Eldon and the Dry Lake Hills, so you can park at Schultz Creek Trailhead. You can take Schultz Creek Trail up to Schultz Pass. Then you can take Sunset Trail all the way up. Then you could come down Upper Oldham to Lower Oldham, and then Rocky Ridge back to your car. There you go. I think that would be an awesome loop. It gets you a little bit of climbing in, but also just some really beautiful mostly non-technical trails to run. Let me know if you do it. David Tarkelson, if one were to travel down to your area to do one of your races from Idaho, which one would you recommend? Depends on what you're looking for. If you want desert, I would say Black Canyon is one of the best that we have in the desert area. If you're looking for pine, the Whiskey Basin 88K, or Flagstaff Sky Race, if you want a lot of climbing and high altitude, that's the highest foot race in Arizona. If you're looking for a fun party atmosphere in the desert, Javelina 100 would be the one for you. But really, all of ours are unique in their own way, and if it suits your schedule, I would recommend any of the ultras for sure. And if you want to follow up with me, David, a little bit more, feel free to send me a message on Twitter or Facebook, and I'd be happy to give you some more insight. Craig Simmons, any idea when ATY registration will open? I think we're gearing up for that right now, so look for it hopefully within the next couple weeks. You can also, to get an exact answer on that, probably email info@Aravaipa Running. I think Haley is working on that right now, so she'll be able to give you probably an exact date on when that will open. Megan Barkvey, best 100-miler training plan? I don't know. Let's see, what would I recommend? I personally, I've used coaches before. I haven't really worked off of a training plan. So maybe I'm going to ask the audience here. What do you guys have? What have you found is the best 100-miler training plan? I know you can find some. Hal Kerner's got a book out there. He's an experienced guy, breaks down some training plans. I know Jason Koop has a new book out there. He's very experienced. What I might recommend is checking out, if you want a personalized, tailored plan for you that you can purchase, check out McMillan Running. Ian Torrance, I've worked with him with good success. They can typically kind of take in a little bit of information and then set you up with a plan that will be suited for you. That might be the best way to go on that. But I would be curious, those of you guys tuning in, what has worked for you in terms of training plans? I know Sage Candidate has some plans out there. I Run Far has some plans. What have you guys used? What's working for you? I haven't done the research personally to see what people are promoting and saying that are out there. Andre Lee, any plan to create a Utah Aravaipa race? Maybe some. I have a concept for a Utah race, but I haven't actioned upon it yet. But it would be something that is unlike anything that currently exists. But that's all I'm going to say. Craig Simmons, he mentions Chrissy Mail's book is good. That's really cool. I'll have to check that one out. Christoph Forti, would a stage race like Trans-Rockies, Transalpine, or even Marathon des Sables be your thing? Trans-Rockies does sound really cool. I just haven't gotten the opportunity to do it. I'm always usually in the midst of organizing one of our own events, or I have a big summer 100-miler coming out, but it sounds like a really good time. I would love to do it sometime. So if you're listening, Trans-Rockies, be happy to show up if you send me an entry. I can do some sweet video work for you. Anyways, jumping back over to Instagram, we got a few more questions. Jared Dybus, what would be a bigger accomplishment? Sub 14 at Western States or an American win at UTMB? Well, an American has already won UTMB. There's already been a couple, I believe, but Rory Bozio did it. And I think there was another woman before that, and I apologize. I think it was Chrissy Mail, actually. I think both of them won UTMB. Super impressive for those women. No American male has ever won UTMB. I'd say those are both pretty intense accomplishments, but I mean, a sub 14 at Western States is insane. Considering the course record is 14:45, I mean, I think that would blow away an American win at UTMB any day. Feel free to debate me on that, anyone. Bring it. Alicio Prez, do you ever use your Sony a6300 to record running events? Absolutely, we do. I personally don't use it very much. Michael uses that one a lot more. I'm totally in love with the Panasonic GH4. It just feels like an extension of my body. I love that camera. We're filming with it right now. I film pretty much everything that I don't use the DJI Osmo for or a drone for. I use that camera. And to me, it's very solid. I can work it really well. I don't even use autofocus. I just use manual mode, and it works really well. So I'd love to upgrade to a GH5, but we'll see if that happens. So yeah, if you do have more questions about using the Sony a6300, Alicio, feel free to reach out to Michael Carson. You can reach him on Twitter at Mike Carson Runs. Yeah, that would be my recommendation there. Got some over here on Facebook. Again, if you guys are just tuning in, we're just doing a Q&A today on Trail Talk, so feel free to pop your questions below. I'm literally answering any question today. This is like a one-time only offer, so get your questions in. I guess that offer will extend to the YouTube comments as well, so if you're tuning into this later, anything goes, ask it. Brian Milia, are you tempted to come over and try a Bob Graham round in the English Lakes? Things are hotting up over here. That sounds really cool. I've seen a lot more about that going around. I would say it's realistically not on my list anytime soon. I've got lots going on and a lot of other projects. Number one, Barkley, I got to get that thing done first. So, but I will keep it in mind for the future. So, but thank you guys for tuning in to this week's Trail Talk. Sorry it was it's going to be a little bit less interesting without my co-host here or without a special guest, but just happy to kind of keep the continuity going each week, and really appreciate you guys tuning in. We have big plans for this show going forward. Jubilee and I were just on a little road trip this last week working on the upcoming Women of Hard Rock film, which is now turned into a 2-year project. We were hoping to release it last year, but we're going to film more of the women this year, more of the stories, and release that after this summer's race. We got some footage with one of this year's participants, Katie Grossman, over in her home in Wrightwood, California. And so keep your eye out for more on the Women of Hard Rock. We will probably do a dedicated show on that so that Jubilee, who is directing and producing that film, can answer your questions. So keep an eye out for that show coming up, as well as hopefully some more guests. We want to up the production value of this show. Hopefully maybe do some like out and about type adventure scenes, or some things outside the studio that we bring into this show would be really fun that we were talking about. If you guys like these JubeTube shows, these are fun. We want to do more of these, try and come up with some new concepts there. But really, we really want this show to be about you guys. We would love to hear from you where you would want to see the direction of this show go. We don't just want to make it promoting Aravaipa running. We want to talk about all things trail running, all things ultra running. Anywhere you guys want to go with this in that whole running spectrum is where we want to go with it. Questions about filming or directing or fun runs or adventure runs, FKTs, whatever it is, we love to talk about it. And really, I think the heart and soul of this show is the Q&A. That's the best part of it for me, and I know Jubilee as well. We love to get the questions from you guys, like in real time, live, and hopefully provide with a little bit of value for you guys. That's really what we love to do, and really appreciate it. This thing evolved from, if you go back to the very first episode, it was me just sitting in front of a camera. I think I didn't have lights. Like, we have lights up now, so it looks and hopefully sounds better. We've got a nice microphone here, but at the core, it's always been about being informative, hopefully being a little bit entertaining, and really answering your questions. And so we appreciate it when you guys do ask them. So I think I got some more questions here. Hopefully I drummed up a few more. Deb runs far. At Western States 100 filming this year, who are you focusing the filming on? We are focusing on the front of the pack. So because of our limited team size, we are going to try and get as much of both the men's and women's as we can, but we are going to be focusing a little bit more on the men, because we do need to get footage of Jim Walmsley this year for a project that we are kind of helping out. We're helping someone else out get footage. So we will have to defer towards Jim. If whatever he does, we're going to have to follow him. So we might have to let go of the women for a bit to stay with Jim, and maybe we can circle back around and get them at the end finishing. That's kind of the goal. But really, we're trying to cover the race and release our own film as quick as possible with the race highlights, hopefully the same weekend. Micro Runner 505, are you doing anything or planning to come to New Mexico? I personally will be in New Mexico in Albuquerque for like the Father's Day weekend because my son's going to be there with his mother. So I'm going to go bop down there probably before or after I head to Silverton. So hopefully I'll get maybe a run in across the Sandia Mountains. I haven't done that before. That'd be pretty fun. That's about all we have going on in New Mexico currently. If you have a reason for us to come, let us know. Nia Tusi, having to say, Jamil, bringing your own cup is catching on. Have seen more and more people doing it over the last few months. Even though it's big in Europe, it's catching more and more on a local Irish runs. That's awesome. I love hearing about that. And hopefully it'll become more and more a thing in the US as well. Saved Aria Snow. More food challenges. Okay. See what we can do. Do you have a favorite spot in Arizona to run? This is from Who's One. Looking to do a solo camping trip somewhere and looking to get a nice trail run or two in. Thanks. The Mogollon Rim is a fantastic area. You can get a real diverse set of runs in. Flagstaff, once it melts out a little more, like the San Francisco Peaks, if you go into the wilderness area, is amazing. It's high altitude running. It's one of my favorite places to train. Where else would be awesome? Tucson, like Mount Lemmon, Wilderness of Rocks up near Summerhaven. Check those out in the Santa Catalinas. Really amazing stuff there as well. Mia on the run, make sure Walmsley doesn't take you off the Western States course. Yes, let's hopefully that does not happen. Rob Devine AZ, is there a reason you are putting out material under so many different names? For instance, using Run Steep Productions, Aravaipa, Mountain Outpost instead of using one. There is a reason for doing that. Although we're putting out a lot of content and a lot of different films and videos, we segment them out in different ways because we feel the audience doesn't cross over for all video content. So we want to kind of separate that out a bit. And we love it when someone likes all of it, and that's great. But the Aravaipa content is, I guess I'll just kind of explain it real quick, but it should be pretty easy to understand. The Aravaipa channel, I mean, that focuses more on our running events. Like, that's our core business, is organizing trail running events. That's what we do with Aravaipa Running. And so those videos are going to be videos about the runs, recaps about the people that do the runs. And this Trail Talk show kind of, it does loosely follow that, but it's mostly just informative about the sport in whole. Run Steep, Get High is also an associated brand of ours that is more inspirational in nature. It is a lifestyle brand that is about pushing your limits and what inspires kind of me personally and us as a whole. And that's, running steep, getting up there, getting into the mountains, even if it's only 1,000-foot high mountain. But really, it's just really a way of life. And so those videos have focused more upon my personal running journey, my training for events, and the video blogs associated with that, as well as our race coverage. It was kind of our roots, like filming races from the perspective of the runner and being able to not only film the race, but from a runner's perspective. So it feels like you're really there. And that's kind of what Run Steep, Get High is all about. And it's kind of more broad than just Aravaipa and our races. So we wanted to open that up to a wider audience, that we're not just talking about our own Flagstaff Sky Race, but hey, this is what the Hard Rock looks like, and you can be inspired by that. Mountain Outpost was another offshoot, and that it doesn't fit the mold of the others really at all. It's more of a humor comedy channel and now it's evolved into a bit of a news source, but with a twist, more like The Daily Show or the Colbert Report, something like that, where it's sometimes controversial news, sometimes just informative, but in an entertaining way and a tongue-in-cheek way. And also Skylar and myself doing some of the weird, wacky challenges. And we found that some people that really like the inspirational Run Steep videos, they don't always like the humor or kind of the weird, wacky Mountain Outpost. So we just segmented a little, but feel free to subscribe to all of them if you like all of them. But they kind of do have their own little life of their own, and it makes sense for us to kind of keep it that way. So thanks for your question. Appreciate it. kind of like a long-winded answer there. Let's see. We've got some more questions on Facebook. Andre Lee, are you excited about the women's training program? How's it going? Very excited about it, definitely. It's still kind of small, so we do wish it would grow more. We recently had a women's self-defense class here at the office, which was really great. One of our associated runners that runs a few of our races put that together for the women, so it was like self-defense while running, which is really cool. And hopefully that will help lead to more women wanting to join the women's training program and kind of, you know, finding those peers and those similar other people that you want to train with and kind of have a similar goal. It's always easier, I think, to hold yourself accountable if you have someone else to train with. Michelle Mason, run the La Luz Trail in Sandia Mountains in Albuquerque. Starts at 7, it goes to a little over 10,000 feet. Super fun. I will check it out. Thank you. Phil Ryan, hey Jamil, thanks for the show. Thanks for all the motivation down here in Australia. You are welcome. All right, a couple more questions. If you have any more, this is kind of your last chance to get them in. Spear Cater, what running film project would you love to be commissioned to do, or would you do it if money were no object? I would love to film like this summer's UTMB race from start to finish, capture what happens during the race. That would be amazing, I think, because UTMB is the biggest trail running ultramarathon in the world, and it'd be fun to showcase what we've been doing and our skills on a worldwide level into an audience that big. I think it would be incredible. Roger Overall, any plans to do Freak Bros pizza videos? Funny you mentioned that. Absolutely. We actually have already filmed some Freak Brothers pizza content, but as we move forward, we absolutely will be doing more of that, which will, you know, again, be its own separate channel. So you have to tune in over there as well. Brian Melia, the 115 Barkley video when you arrive at the trailhead is my favorite one. What was the amazing music? It lifted beautifully, especially around Ginger Runner, Kim, and Michael Versteeg. Great editing team behind the scenes. Keep it real. Thank you. I don't know the song off the top of my head. We'd have to go look at that. So thank you guys for tuning in this week to Aravaipa Trail Talk. I'm your host, Jam. And if you have questions for me, feel free to send me a tweet at Jamil Curry. If you have questions for the show, you can reach us at Aravaipa Running. Be sure to subscribe for more episodes to the Aravaipa Running channel, and we'll see you next week. Be sure to tune in live. We'll take your questions, or you can leave them below. One more question. We got a couple more here, and then we'll wrap it up. I already did the outro. Christoph 40, iRunFar sometimes asks for outside help in reporting big events. Would you do the same for an event like UTMB? I would be open to recruiting other people to help me, absolutely. That will be done through our Steep Life Media arm, so check that out. We haven't quite publicly released all of that information, but you can reach out to Steep Life Media for more info on that. That's all we have time for this week, guys. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye.